Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I hope I'm audible. So let us start. I'm sorry for the delay with my laptop. We will be continuing from our discussion on the eighth chapter. We had seen till eighth chapter, fifth verse last time. So, ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण Gita. Last time we had discussed how in the eighth chapter Krishna begins, especially in the fifth verse, talking about the science of remembering him. You might recollect this. This was the division we had seen. That in the first section of the eighth chapter, Krishna answers Arjuna's questions and describes about himself. And then in the fifth to the eighth verses, we began discussing how Krishna tells about remembering himself. So this is called the law of the last thought. That if someone remembers Krishna, the Supreme Lord, in his last moments, then what happens? He goes to Krishna. It's like there is a connecting link, between one birth to another. Our this life to the next life, this link is our last thought. Now, what is going to be our last thought is going to very much determine what is going to be our next life. Now, one may think, okay, I'll just manage my last thought, in a very expert way. But actually, that doesn't happen. Our last thought is going to be influenced by a sum total, an aggregate of our activities, of our desires, thoughts, experiences, of the samskaras, of the impressions which we have cultivated. Probably sometimes in movies you might have seen that a person in his last moments he gets a flash of his entire life up till then. Like in the last striking moments, entire life goes like a flash in a moment, and then some one or two prominent things or people or incidents would actually be there, like as in very very prominence right in front of him. So if we have cultivated consistently remembrance of the Supreme Lord, our touch with the Supreme Lord, our knowledge of the Supreme Lord, our service, our attachment to the Supreme Lord, then we'll remember Krishna. If we are in love with his personality, then we will heartily remember him. And if we have served him whole life and are still unable to remember him, maybe because of sudden death in an accident, maybe because of just died in a coma, or anything like that, then what happens? Then Lord Krishna says to Mother Lakshmi, I mean Lord Vishnu says to Mother Lakshmi in Varaha Puran, that if such is the case with my devotee who has served me lifelong, very, very loyally, then what happens? I remember him. At the time of his death, I remember him. Now that is even even more fantastic. Krishna is remembering us, we definitely go to him. And third case, what if we are not remembering Krishna and Krishna is not remembering us because we didn't do anything like that in our life? Then what happens? That means such a person has not cultivated devotional service to the Lord throughout his life. He has not put any endeavors. He is not pleased with the Lord. Then, when he doesn't remember Krishna, he is going to remember something else. Something. Some person, some incident, something, right? So now that Krishna is telling in the 6th verse. The 5th verse, you might recollect this 5th verse. This was the 5th verse. Kalecha mameva smaran mukta prayati samadbhava. Last time. And how in this verse Krishna says that if you remember me, you will come. Anta of your time, like chamameva, mera smaran, mera. Smaran, when you leave your body, muktva kalevaram. Muktva means to give up. Kalevaram means your body. So while giving up your body, if at the last of those moments in this body, your thought is about me. You're remembering me. Samadbhavam. Samadbhava, my name, Lord. Okay. Yadi not out of. Now the question, so see, 6th verse. Now this general principle. If I remember anyone or anything else, what happens? Vapi smaran mavam tyajam tam tame vaiti sada tadbhava bhavitah. Whatever state of being, remember, although a great personality at the end of his life, and so in his next life he was transferred into the body of a deer. Although as a deer he remembered his past activities, he had to accept that animal body. Of course, one's thoughts during the course of one's life accumulate to influence one's thoughts at the moment of death. That will help one be transferred to the transcendental nature of Krishna. If one is transcendentally absorbed in Krishna's service, then his next body will be transcendental, spiritual. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is the best process for successfully changing one's state of being at the end of one's life. Quitting the body, that state he will attain without fail, which means, suppose I'm the thing which I'm most attached to is eating some golgappa. So if I'm desiring to be around that golgappa vendor, you know, so my deserving has to be checked now. Suppose as per my deserving, then I will become a rat in the gutter nearby this golgappa. If I'm supposed to be a very rich man, then I might become a rich man in that area right in front of that or something like that, and I'll have access to that. Or I might become a human being and I might become his son only, something like that. So it's going to be a combination of desire and deserve, but it is going to be connected and based upon this last thought. So what is Prabhupada teaching us in this purport? That this is the process of changing one's nature at the critical moment of death. So just like Prabhupada gives example of Maharaj Bharat, that Maharaj Bharat left the entire kingdom and then went to the forest to practice spiritual life, but he became attached to a deer. And then he remembered the deer at the last moment of his quitting the body. And then he had to become a deer in the next life, right? And Prabhupada is telling, if in one's present life, one lives in the mode of goodness, okay? So the idea is this life creates next life, okay? This is one thing. This life creates next life. It's our choice. It's our series of choices, what we make in our life. And then next is, if in one's present life one lives in the mode of goodness, one. Second, always thinks of Krishna, then it is possible for one to remember Krishna at the end of months. So just two things we have to do: live in the mode of goodness and always think of Krishna. Now, how to do that? As far as the second thing is concerned, of always thinking of Krishna, that one can do. Prabhupada explains below, you might recollect, that you just chant every day this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Just is the best process for successfully changing one's state of being at the end of one's life. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this Maha Mantra is like a spiritual brooming. It will cleanse our mind of all the nasty things, and it will slowly establish, install the app in our mind, which will help us remember Krishna. Because these are the holy names of Krishna, and these are non-different from the Supreme Lord. Our name may be Lakshmi Narayan, and we may be a beggar, very well. But in case of the Supreme Lord, his name matches with what he is. Like it's non-different. Like when you say water, our thirst is not going to be satisfied, because water object and water name are two different things. Somebody may be named as Komal, but she may be the most harsh lady. When she speaks, oh my God, you may just want her to just keep quiet, right? But Krishna, the name Krishna is all attractive, and he is all attractive, and even his name is all attractive. When somebody develops a habit of chanting Lord's names, like nobody can chant his own name. Even if you want to chant his own name, he'll not be able to chant every day. Nobody will be able to chant Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola. But we chant this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So many millions of devotees chant on the planet every day for hours, right? Like I myself, at least every day, 1 hour, 45 minutes, we chant 16 rounds of this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. One round means 108 times on the beads. So each one of us can also begin this chanting process. Every day we can chant 2 rounds, 4 rounds, 6 rounds, 8 rounds, whatever is feasible for us. One round takes roughly 7 minutes or so. And as you go on chanting, very soon it will be taking only 6.5, 6 minutes. So then very easily you can chant more. And the more you chant, the more you love to chant. You just taste the nectar that is there. It is the simplest way of connecting to Krishna. And anywhere one can do it, anytime one can do it. Although the best time is in the morning with a free mind. And nobody has to pay anything anywhere, has to register anywhere, nothing actually. Anybody and everybody is qualified. All that one needs is little faith and little eagerness. That's all, nothing else. And do it with attention, and you will see amazing results. The more you do it, you will see more amazing results. Remember, this is going to be an investment, because life is a preparation, death is an examination. So this is going to be like when you prepare in your semester. So that's not a waste of time, because that's an investment towards the final exam which you're going to perform at. Similarly, when the death comes, so then we should not be regretting looking back that I didn't invest my time and energy. I didn't make that priority. I didn't make that choice, to chant the holy names. So that is why they say at the time of death, Ram Nam Satya. Why Ram Nam Satya? Because they remind each other that, see, uh, this guy was alive, and when he had the time, he could have chanted, but he didn't, or probably we didn't encourage him to chant. But now we realize that the holy name of the Lord is the absolute truth. Ram Nam Satya. Everything else is not a reality. We also should chant now. But only thing is, this determination, this lesson remains only up to the Shamshan Ghat. And then again, everybody is back on the track of Maya. So yeah, we are doing our duties and our jobs and everything else in this world. But out of 24 hours, can we not take out half an hour every day for the Lord? Can we not take out, so one who has given us 24 hours, can we not give him back half an hour? Can we not give him back 1 hour, 15 minutes? Somewhere we begin. So, so if every day regularly we chant some minimum time, some minimum number of rounds, what we should fix is number of rounds. Like, okay, one round means 108 times this Maha Mantra. So, how, if we commit ourselves to Krishna and we begin this process, tremendous difference. This is the essence of spiritual life. This chanting of this Maha Mantra means we have read all the scriptures in one sense, and we are practicing the essence like that. Okay. So one more thing, you see, just like when you travel in a car, in a car or in a bus or something on the road, like when you travel by the road and you travel from one city to another, so often you might have seen there are big hoardings. They say Pepsi, or like Coca-Cola, whatever. Pepsi, 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 like one after another hoarding comes. Then some nearby, from nearby one truck goes, and the back of that also Pepsi. Oh really? And you're hearing some radio in that also Pepsi. And then you're reading some magazine again at the back of that Pepsi. And then you have this series of small boards in the divider, right? So again in the one after another Pepsi, 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 like that. And then you stop at the toll station where you give the toll uh, for your car. And then in the toll tax receipt behind again Pepsi. And then uh, one expressway restaurant comes, where you stop for getting fresh and all, and when you want to drink and eat something, so you go there. There's a big poster Pepsi again. And then there is a guy, so he asks you, sir, what would you take? Huh? Pepsi. So after all this advertisement which has gone inside you, what happens is that there is a deep impression which has gone inside. Pepsi, Pepsi, Pepsi. If in a college class, like I remember when I was in NIT Surathkal 15 years back. So that time uh, there was one point of time in our third year, I think, yeah. So everybody would always talk about going for MS, going for MBA. And in those days we used to get multiple jobs, like jobs. There was no dearth of jobs. It was after 2008 that things started changing. So this was in 2007, and so many jobs actually people were getting. And so they had multiple jobs, they had PPOs, and people would get like so many MS offers, and from US, PhD offers, this and that. And like with the whole class, everybody would always be discussing. For 1 or 2 semesters, it was like just all these things only. And I remember I didn't want to just waste my time doing. Of course, I'm sorry, I don't mean that this is a waste of time, but then I had my priorities. I just wanted to serve Krishna and the entire society. So I was just looking for what can help me to actually do what my spiritual master is asking me. Go to these particular cities and do these spiritual programs, and also whatever jobs helps you to go there, you take up that. And so that's what I was doing. But I was seeing all these people, and all the time, and in each other's association, even those who probably didn't have all those desires of doing MS and MBA and PhD and going for top-notch corporates outside India and all. Now, most of them are placed like that. Most of them are not in India. They are here and they are doing this thing, that thing. That's fine. But what I'm saying is the example that there were many amongst them who were not so much into all this. But then the power of association. Na? So every day everybody is discussing about these things only. They also would get influenced. And I remember at one point of time, I also started thinking that it's all right? That what I'm thinking to do. Hmm. So this is how this Mahamantra also affects, and this is spiritual actually. So again and again, when we remember Krishna's name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. See, it not only reminds us of Krishna, it actually cleanses our mind. It's like an antiseptic, disinfectant of the material life, of the selfish life, of the unholy desires. This is what does this. Cheto Darpana Marjanam, Bhav Mahadava. This is Cheto Darpana Marjanam, just like a mirror covered with dust. When you cleanse it, then you're able to see yourself very clearly. The mirror had the power of showing our own face to ourselves, but then while the dust is on, it doesn't, is not able to perform its natural function. Similarly, in our mind, our mind and in our heart, we naturally love God and everyone else. We are selfless. But then in this, while we are there in the existence of this material world, it has got covered over with different anarthas. Lust, anger, greed, illusion, envy, all these things. So this Mahamantra, this holy names of God, any other holy names of God also, like Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Narayana Namaha. All these holy names, or even many others, Krishna, Murari, Rama, Raghunandana, Madhusudana, Narsimha, Vamana. These are all names of God from different avatars, and they all work. But this particular Hare Krishna Mahamantra, this is the most powerful one, and is prescribed by the Shastras. In so many Shastras, it is prescribed actually. So some other time we'll take up that, how it is prescribed in many scriptures and what are the quotations and all. This is one thing I would like to share with you probably. Idhi shodashakam nam kali kalmashanashanam nata parataropaya sarva vedeshu drishyate. Iti shodashakam nam. This shodashakam, 16 words, iti shodashakam nam, consisting, this 16 words Mahamantra, consisting of various names of the Lord. Now, Kali Kalmashanashana. It can counteract all the ill effects of the age of Kali Yuga. Nataha parataropaya. There is no other better solution than this of the hardships of this age. Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. This is the verdict of all the scriptures. Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. From the point of view of all the scriptures. This is a recommendation. So this is so clear actually. So this is one thing that we need to chant this holy names of Lord. And second thing is, if in one's present life one lives in the mode of goodness. Okay, what is the meaning of living in the mode of goodness? This we will see in detail in chapter number 14 and 17. Those chapters are more or less all about this only. But just to give you a little 1 minute understanding, that this is called, like there are 3 modes of the material nature: Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna, Tamo Guna. So Sattva Guna is mode of goodness. That means knowledge, happiness, and not doing any sinful activities. Okay, being everyone else's well-wisher, having a clean life internally and externally. And thus, when you don't do sin, so you are more or less happy. So you rise early, you eat food which is not at the expense of other living entities, which means not that we have to trouble other living entities simply to satisfy our palate. And similarly, we don't snatch, or we don't snatch things or credit of the other people. And uh, we we do our duties, our dharma very nicely, material ones as well as spiritual ones. Okay, so we live a clean life, we live a thoughtful life, like that. So in detail, what all we do, how to do that. So that will, and this will be reflected in our everyday affairs, in all the aspects of our life. It will be reflected. What we eat, whom do we befriend, whom do we not, and what lifestyle do we live. Everything, this mode of goodness will reflect into every aspect of our life. So when we do these two things, we live in the mode of goodness, which will elevate our level of thoughts. And second, we always think of Krishna by chanting this Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Definitely, we will be going back to Godhead because we'll be able to remember Krishna at the end of our life. Okay. So, if we do not do that, then we'll remember something or someone from this world, and then accordingly, our next life will be, which means we'll again take a birth. But if we remember Krishna, no more birth, no more death. We'll straight go to spiritual world. We'll get a spiritual body, which will never become old, which will never become diseased, which will always be blissful. So then Krishna says this beautiful verse, text 7. So now remember in the 5th verse he said Antakale cha mamaya smaran muktva klevaram yah prayati samadbhavam jnati atra yadi nasti atra samshaya, which means if you remember me, you'll come back to me. You'll be liberated. 6th verse he says a general principle that so if you do not remember me, then you may remember someone else, something else, and accordingly your next path will be. And Prabhupada says in the purport about mode of goodness and chanting Hare Krishna. And then Krishna is telling now a formula for living life in this world. Therefore, Arjuna, how should you live life in this world? Because you have understood this principle, the law of the last thought. This you have understood now. Therefore, how should one practically live in this world? Now the question boils down to, okay, how should I live in this world? So here Krishna says, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu, always, therefore, always at all times, Mam anusmara yuddhacha, always remember me and do your duties like yours is fighting. Mayar pita mano buddhir, with all your mind, with all your intelligence, with all your abilities. Mame vaishyasya samshayaha, invested in me, engaged in my devotional service. So Krishna is telling here to Arjuna, therefore, O Arjuna, you should always think of me, in the form of Krishna, and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. So what Krishna means, okay, we'll read the purport. The instruction to Arjuna is very important. This instruction to Arjuna is very important for all men engaged in material activities. So we all are engaged in activities in this material world. So this instruction is very important for all of us. The Lord does not say that one should give up his prescribed duties or engagements, which means we can continue our jobs, which means we can continue our studies, which means we can continue taking care of our family, our children, our wives, our husbands. So what should we do to be spiritual? One can continue them and at the same time think of Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna. This will free one from material contamination and engage the mind and intelligence in Krishna. By chanting Krishna's names, one will be transferred to the supreme planet Krishna Loka without a doubt. Simply, if we can make this priority, that I'll not do sins. What are the sins? Major sins? Eating non-veg, then taking intoxications of any kind, and doing gambling, and having illicit affairs. So these are the 4 major sinful activities. If we can avoid them, and if we can live a clean life, and we can chant Hare Krishna every day as much as we can. So I think every day everyone can easily chant 4 rounds. It'll take like 25 to 30 minutes a day. Some can chant more also. Actually, we all can chant every day 16 rounds. There's nothing, there's no absolutely no problem in that. In fact, this will only expand our time in the daytime. We may think that, oh, this will take my 1 hour 45 minutes out of 24 hours. You will be amazed to see that your remaining time will be expanded. It's as if like sharpening a pencil. When you sharpen a pencil, you have an exam for 60 minutes. You take 2 minutes to sharpen your pencil. That the rest of the 58 minutes after sharpening with a sharpened pencil will give you more efficiency and effectivity than your 60 minutes without sharpening. Similarly, when you chant Hare Krishna, the remainder of the time of the entire day, you will be able to bring out much more potentially than when you use 24 hours without sharpening your mind, cleansing your mind. Because when you chant Hare Krishna, so what happens is all our desires, unnecessary desires. See, this lockdown has taught many people this lesson, that there are many activities, desires, and this thing, that thing, which were unnecessary in our lives. We don't need every day. We don't need every weekend to go for a movie and this and that. Actually, when we don't have lust and anger and greed and selfishness and ego and envy, you will see a lot of our time and energy and money will be saved. Actually, will be saved like anything. When I used to work in Bangalore, so in the IT industry that time, because we were living a very simple and devotional life. So actually, a lot of our money would be saved as compared to our other friends and all. Practically, we were living a better life in just 1/3 expense, even from the point of view of boarding, lodging, and food and everything. Really, why? Simply because our life was very clean. And what do we do for our camps and yatras and picnics and festivals? Together we celebrate, and together we chant, dance, hear, we do dramas, right? So our expense was like very less. See, imagine non-veg food versus veg food, right? So non-veg is expensive, more expensive than veg, right? Imagine life without intoxications and with intoxications. Intoxications are very, very costly. I have never taken any intoxicant in my life, but I've seen people who take, they destroy their lives, they destroy their many things eventually when they become addicts. And I've seen in airports, what is that place, that duty free zone, something like that they call it, and so many liquor bottles, my god, and so much it costs, right? And similarly, gambling. Actually, people lose their entire life savings sometimes, their properties, whatnot. That's what is shown in Mahabharata, that even people like Pandavas can be led into it. Then there is illicit affairs. Illicit affairs, my God, they take away the peace of the mind, and one will get into so many complications. And most importantly, the sinful reactions which come by doing all these things can be disastrous. So probably we might be doing, uh, some of us might be also engaged in, um, sometimes maybe due to our lifestyle previously, we might be taking sometimes some non-veg things. Maybe other things are at least a taboo for most of the Indians. In general, they know that it's a taboo. But non-veg sometimes because of the culture or our friends or something, so we can actually uh, uh, get exposed to some knowledge, scientific knowledge. And I can also share a PPT. I'll request Himanshu to share a PPT with all of you, which we have. This is not ISKCON PPT or made from Shastras or something. This is a very professional, scientific, um, a compilation of scientific realities based on research, and based on hard facts. So you will see that how it is financially, health-wise, socially, ecologically. It is simply a very natural and sensible choice to actually go for veg. And I also would recommend, there is one video which is a documentary. which is available on some, I forgot the website. So, okay, I don't know, this is a website on which people watch movies. So that is also available there. Or otherwise, it is also available on the free source YouTube. Like it's also available there. So maybe Himanshu may recollect the name. He will share. So this is made by someone from Hollywood, and it shows actually many people who took up to vegan or vegetarian, who shifted to that, and so there is a whole description, like not just scientific but very practical. And even great personalities like Einstein, Newton, and many of the Hollywood, Bollywood stars, and many others, and even many biggest of the bodybuilders, they have been vegetarian actually. There's no dearth of people turning to that nowadays. So, if we are doing any of these things, we can slowly try to gradually, like somebody is smoking. So, we can try to convince ourselves with the data and with the scientific facts and with the scriptural evidences available, and then we can slowly reduce the frequency as well as the amplitude or the quantity of the input, and then slowly give it up. Also, when we chant Hare Krishna, we'll get the strength, the determination to change our life. Okay, so this was so in everybody's life one can follow these words. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yuddhacha. You can always recollect this part. Mam anusmara yuddhacha. The second line of the 4 lines. Mam anusmara yuddhacha means you do 2 things. Mam anusmara yuddhya. Yuddhya represents our duties in this world. Like for a student, it is studying. For a businessman, it's his business. Here for Arjuna, a Kshatriya warrior, it was fighting the battle. So while one does that, one should also remember Krishna. So in our lifestyle, we should make it a habit to remember Krishna. Like last time, you might recollect, we had seen how while drinking water, we can recollect this, the taste of water, the satisfaction of satisfying the quench, that the thirst, the quenching the thirst that comes from Krishna only. No one else can provide that. We had discussed how the milk or the other thing growing in the material nature, that comes from Krishna. We had discussed how in the mother's womb the baby grows because of Krishna. We have different talents and all bestowed by the Supreme Lord because of Krishna. So like this we can remember Krishna, and most importantly we can remember Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day, investing our time and energy into that. So Prabhupada gives one example that how it is possible for one to always remember Krishna. Like he says, this is a very beautiful example, I really like it, very relevant. He says that in the general Indian household families, the lady, she's a housewife and she's engaged into cooking, cleaning, washing, and many things, right? Arranging things in the home, facilitating everyone with whatever they need. Prabhupada says that you will observe that a general Indian lady, middle-aged lady or whatever, while doing her brooming or dealing with the milkman and vegetable vendor and while cooking and everything, she will never forget to keep her clothes and keep her sari and her hair and everything in order. Like she immediately realizes, oh, my clothes or my hair are not in order. So while doing her other things, she will be able to take care of all that. It's like a natural by default setting for her. It always keeps going on in the background. Sometimes the computer asks, allow this process or like this antivirus to do the scanning of your system in the background, and you can do other things. Something like that, right? At least in our old times, it used to ask. So similarly, it's like it when we gradually begin doing it, it will become a by default setting. Even like it happens to us sometimes, say suddenly something comes in right in front of you. Immediately you'll from your mouth it'll come out, Krishna. Immediately it's done natural actually. You don't have to put any endeavors at all. Seriously. Some sad news comes, some kind of thing. Govinda, Krishna, Gauranga, This just comes out actually. So you close your eyes and you want to pray, you have some thoughts, immediately Krishna's image will come in front of you. It's but natural. So when we invest our time like that, see, people keep talking of girls and boys so much. In the college, at least I've seen the boys, they keep talking of girls, girls, girls all the time. That's why what happens? They sleep also, they're remembering some dirty thoughts. They anything anywhere they will look at some clothes shop also now. They will see all those putlas, kya bolte hain usko, whatever. So they will, their imagination goes at that place. So it's like, why? Because they're always thinking of that. They're always talking of that. They're always discussing of that. So some people the same thing about cricket. Cricket, eat cricket, drink cricket, all that. Sleep cricket, eat Pepsi, drink Pepsi, whatever. So whatever you're immersed in, your thoughts and your activities everywhere, or probably when we were teenagers, so the movies sometimes the love movies ना क्या बोलते हैं आप उसको, love story movies या romantic movies, तो उसमें ऐसे बता देते हैं, तो वो हीरो बोलता था, अरे मुझे लड़की का चेहरा हर जगह दिख रहा है, और वो नोटबुक में क्लास में बैठ के नोट्स बना रहा है कॉलेज में, तो उसका नाम ही लिख रहा है वो लड़की का नाम, और वो उसको जहाँ पे भी वो उसने लड़की को जिस कलर के ड्रेस में देखा था, कहीं पे वो कलर देखता तो लड़की ही दिखती उसको हर जगह। फिर उसको दूसरे लोग बोलते, ओह लगता है तुम्हें प्यार हो गया है। So you try to understand, this is how a person gets actually lost in the thoughts of anything. How people who are into terrorism, they have by default setting, every opportunity, every time they're thinking of how to destroy India or how to destroy this particular group of people or this or that. So somebody has passion for a startup, somebody has that, or some scientist has something for a research. So it just corona just enters, and then you just get affected thoroughly by it. Similarly, we have to become Krishna conscious, and it can just be there, and and it can make our every aspect of our life wonderful. Yeah, even when you study things, your mind will be crystal clear. You'll be able to grasp things very fast, and very clearly. We have experienced this thing actually. How? Because you see, when you have a lot of traffic, like let us say you have a internet connection with 1 Mbps speed, you open like something like 50 tabs in your browser, and you have many other things going on, this download, that upload. What's going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? Your main activity of maybe checking your mails or watching a video on a YouTube which was a training video or something, that'll get stuck. That'll be very slow, because you've given your bandwidth, the major part of your bandwidth, to so many other unnecessary things. Similarly, when you go on the road in Bangalore, in Delhi, huge traffic, right? So I remember in Bangalore, I used to go from this Marthale area, what was it? Madiwala, hai na? And Silk Board. So I used to do this spiritual programs in Bannerghatta Road and IM. So like 4 times a week or so at least I used to go there. And I used to also give some programs in RVC College, which was Mysore Road. So, and sometimes we used to go to Bull Temple Road for this another college and one corporate program, and so it was like a hellish thing, and I just had a bike, and we were young and extremely energetic, so we used to like go here there. Sometimes the same day on bike I would travel like 150 160 kilometers, from because Saturday or some holiday, morning to evening, or sometimes even a working day, but some programs are there and this and that. So from here to there, my god, we would just be crazy actually, crazy, but going around here and there. So in that time the traffic was so much. Sometimes on some of the places that you wait for the signal, especially at the Silk Board, and I don't recollect actually every name of every signal, but there were some places like this where traffic would just get stuck. and the red light becomes green, then you just move little ahead practically. So 3-4 times the red light has to turn green, red. Then only you get to actually cross it. So I used to keep a book of bhajans and kirtans on the fuel tank of my bike. So whenever like this kind of, so I have to stop and just wait there, and all that thing is coming, smoke and all. So I just take that out and um, read the next stanzas of the next bhajan, and then till the next stop, which would be like just 3-4 minutes. So I would again, I would like read it, memorize those lines, and then keep reciting. So I'd memorize like this. I memorize tens and tens of songs, bhajans, and hundreds of verses. Bangalore, and so what I was saying to you is that the distance would be small, and sometimes when on a Friday evening it would start heavily raining. Even on a bike, I have crossed. It has taken me at times 3 hours, no, 2 hours to cross like 8-10 kilometers. 2 hours, believe it or not. Because on bike, I mean, if you're in a car, oh, gone. Crazy actually. There's so much traffic. So what I was trying to share was that just like there is traffic in your internet, your bandwidth gets stuck, and your main work gets compromised. And just like when you are when you're not able to move on the road, it's so slow. In Hindi they say बाराते की चाल चलना. बाराते की चाल चलना मतलब बहुत slow जा रहे हो आप. चींटी की चाल चलना, like that, because of the traffic. Similarly, in our mind, when there are too many wrong thoughts, selfish desires, egoistic issues, and relationship complications with others, so many wrong aspirations, motivations, so much of thoughts and mental energy going into thinking negative about others. When all these things are there, lust over somebody, this, that, which ultimately ends in all meaningless pursuits. So, because of all this unnecessary traffic in our mind, what happens is our general efficiency towards what we want to do actually gets reduced, like anything, and we're not able to actually tap our true potential. So to bring out the best in us, to bring out the best potential in us, we need to have a clutter free mind. You might have observed this, experienced this in your life, that practically if you keep your table very clean and neat and organized, dust off the, I mean, wipe off the dust, your books are organized, you have a well laid out schedule in front of you, and all these things, like if you have your life organized like this, you actually feel like studying or working. You actually, you can perform very clearly. You have a clear thought process. So so it is like that actually, just like that. Your laptop bag, it's cluttered, you don't know what is where. So then you cannot be so clear. Even in your laptop also, your files, if you do not know where what was named, what some people are really like, they don't know only. So at least this should not happen with our thoughts in our lives. If we chant Hare Krishna, if you always remember Krishna, Mam Anusmara, that has been placed before you there. It's more important, it's more fundamental, it's more foundational to keep in touch with God. And that will like an antiseptic thing. It'll be like being covered with disinfectant, all over, and then facing this world. It'll be like carrying that, that people who would go traditionally into wars, so they would have a sword and they would have a shield. I think they call it shield, like dhal bolte hain Hindi mein. I think shield. So with shield they would protect themselves, and then with sword they would attack. So in our case, the sword is Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Lord's names. It would attack our enemies, which are internal mostly, and that shield will protect us. And what is that shield? That shield is living a life which is in mode of goodness. And that sword, or when you in the morning when you chant Hare Krishna, for your committed number of rounds, and then when you start your day in this world, you will feel like you have a shield, you have an invisible shield around you, Sometimes they show like a invisible aura around somebody. Anything you throw at him and it'll be reflected back. So you will get that kind of protection. Believe me, you will definitely get. You will feel it. You will be able to easily, smilingly, you know, deal with your lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, illusion. You will be able to win friends. They bring out so many motivational books and speeches, right, in the internet and all these things. Actually, honestly speaking, these are all, most of it is cheating. Why? You say some good words here and there, but then how do you enable a person to do it? He hears some good words today, it's gone tomorrow. It's gone day after tomorrow. Actually, if you bring him to mode of goodness lifestyle and dealings with people, and if you put him in touch with God, somewhere you improve his life by making it cleaner from internal heart. Then once the software says like you have i7 or you have Celeron, it actually is immaterial if your system is filled with viruses. It's going to malfunction. A cleaner system, even with a lesser performing, lesser speed operating system, and that your configuration is fine actually, like that. So saying this, Krishna then goes to the 8th verse where he says, Abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasa nanyagamina paramam purusham divyam yati parthanu chintayan. He says, he who meditates on me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Partha, is sure to reach me. Krishna is again stressing the importance of remembering him. One's memory of Krishna is revived by chanting the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna. By this practice of chanting and hearing the sound vibration of the Supreme Lord, one's ear, tongue, and mind are engaged. This mystic meditation is very easy to practice. It helps one to attain the Supreme Lord. So, like that. And then from text 9, so he begins another thing from here. So what does he begin? This text 9 is about remembering Krishna through meditation. Okay, how do you remember Krishna through meditation? So what we will do, we'll go to our slideshow. Yeah, so here you see remembering Krishna. Practice remembrance through meditation. Abhyasa yoga yuktena. अभ्यास करिए आप, है ना. सो कैसे बता रहे हैं वो, अभी तक हमने 2 पार्ट देखे हैं, 2 और बचे हैं ना, अटेनिंग द सुप्रीम. तो ये हम देखेंगे अभी. Okay, just a minute. Yeah, we saw this just now, है ना. I think you might recollect we discussed the example of Ajamila also. Ajamila was a sinful man, and then in the last moment of his life, he remembered his son's name Narayan. See, therefore, in the Vedic times, they used to keep the names of their homes or their children's names or their company name. Actually, every name they would put in relationship with God. Why? So that even if you remember an enemy in the time of death, and his name is like Mukunda or Narayan, so you will chant God's name, and there is a good chance it may happen like Ajamila. Or even if you remember, people used to buy a house or some plot of land in Vrindavan or somewhere, Mathura, and then they would go and stay there. So even if they're attached to a place, if it is in Vrindavan, near Govardhan or somewhere, so what happens is that you remember the Lord, you remember his abode. So that they used to like, this was there in the entire framework of the life or the entire lifestyle of person in the Vedic times. That how can I be in touch with Krishna? So you take prasad, you study scriptures, and for the entertainment and other thing, Mahabharata, Ramayana. So This is Gajendra going back to Vaikuntha.
कौसल्या सुप्रजा रामपूर्वा सन्ध्या प्रवर्तते उत्तिष्ठ नरशार्दूल कर्तव्यं दैवमान्तिकम् कौसल्या सुप्रजा रामपूर्वा सन्ध्या प्रवर्तते उत्तिष्ठ नरशार्दूल कर्तव्यं दैवमान्तिकम् उत्तिष्ठ.
Yeah. So what you saw here was, of course, was a simple cartoon rendition. Just made for this PPT. What was the thing there that you saw in the material world? There was a scene of an elephant, that is Gajendra, so who was a devotee of Krishna in his previous life, and then he did some grievous offense, and so he became an elephant in the next life. And then he was once caught by a crocodile in the river where he was drinking water and taking bath. And despite having an entire band of elephants as his family and friends, he couldn't be saved. So at that moment of emergency, he just recollected from his last life that there is a supreme Lord whom I used to worship. So he remembered he remembered the Lord and called out for him. Picked up, there was a lotus growing in the water nearby him, and he just picked up from his trunk that water and just offered in the air to the Lord. That, my dear Lord, it was just an expression of love and a call to be protected. And then Lord came. You saw that the Lord came there, and so actually because he remembered Krishna at the time of death, or Lord Narayan, so then Lord Narayan came to pick him up, and he actually brought him here to Vaikuntha. This is a scene of Vaikuntha. This is a spiritual world. In spiritual world, everyone is beautiful, and everybody is serving the Supreme Lord with love, not with like labor or this or that. With love. It's very pure place, very very pure place. There is music, there are families, there are palaces, there are trees, there are fountains, there are peacocks, there are birds, there's variety of foods, you know, there everything there is always pure, nirmalam, you know. So, and actually we are from that place. That is why we look for such place or such experience in this world also. You know, there is a song, na, old song, चल के तुझे मैं लेके चलूं एक ऐसे गगन के तले जहां गम भी ना हो आंसू भी ना हो बस प्यार ही प्यार पले. We expect this world to be a place like this, isn't it? पंछी बन के उड़ता चलूं मस्त गगन में. God, this kind of poems and songs, oh my God, they're so theoretical. But they are actually not theoretical. They are theoretical or utopian or imaginary from the point of view of this world. This world is never going to be like. And they lived happily ever after. The end. No, Baba, nobody lives happily. And nobody definitely lives ever after. Never. You can say, and they lived happily never after. That is true. So, what I'm trying to say is that actually these kind of imaginations which the poets have, which all the kids have, that why does, I remember as a teenage boy I used to wonder why people are selfish in the world, why do they cheat, and what's going on. Like people take birth, then they go to school, they go to college, they try to take up some job, business, they fight with each other, and all these adults they fight with each other, they get married, and they are all, actually so many thoughts, all this, the observation of this world. Very strange place. And I used to see what is happening. Everybody's into like one cycle. So when we study na, in our fifth, sixth, seventh standard, first time this water cycle and all this carbon cycle and all these things. So I used to see people are also in one cycle only. Take birth and then do this, and struggle, and then all that. Like it's a standard thing only life of everybody's just an Aadhaar card number. Everybody's just a roll number. Everybody's just an employee number. That's all. And just dates change. The dates change. The newspaper basically remains same every day. यहाँ पर रेप हुआ, वहां पर करप्शन हुआ, वहां पर ये हुआ, वहां पर वो हुआ, वहां पर कोरोना हुआ. Just the details change. The name of the person, the name of the place, and how much money he looted and all. Otherwise, it's all the same. Climatic calamities, changes, this, that. It's all the same. Basically, people are miserable because this is not the place to be. This is a foreign place. This is a jail. Actually, this is a prison house, and our bodies. We are not the bodies. Remember, we are the spirit souls. These bodies are the punishment. I mean, when you go to jail, they give you that dress, that jail dress. This body is actually a dress given for the prisoners in this prison of material world, and we are suffering with this. So if we simply get captivated with the idea and the desire to go back to the spiritual world, actually I just don't know how this world makes sense. You get youth up to the age of 30, 35 or 40 at max. After that, it's simply a struggle. But even in that youth, maximum time goes for struggling in the academics and struggling with the competition. And by the time you really begin to have some resources and have a settled life, so when you don't have the money, you had the desire and the ability to go and eat many foods and digest them all. when you get a lot of ability and a lot of money, you lose you lose your youth and you become old. You're hankering to get your own 3 BHK house in some big apartment villa or something, and by the time you get it, its life has become already old and complicated. You understand this? Like, this world is a very strange place. How much time and opportunity one anyways gets to really live life. So actually we belong to the spiritual world. We deserve a life of bliss. We deserve a life of many friends, and wonderful family, and the entire world actually is like that they love each other. Everything there is pure. One never gets old. One never gets diseased. Nobody walks because everybody dances. Nobody talks because everybody sings. They're so happy. They're well wishers of each other, and it is just the most pure existence. There are flights. See there is a flight, right? You see there in the sky. That flight is not like these airlines and all. And there is no currency. There is no insecurity. There is no, like, in this world you want to do something. आप कुछ घर भी परचेज करना है तो कुछ प्रॉपर्टी भी कितना कॉम्प्लिकेशन है. कोई तो आपको धोखा नहीं दे दे. कोई, there are so many legalities and this and that. My God, this is not. You don't have to remember OTPs and passwords. You don't have to submit assignments and lab records and so this is the spiritual world. Actually, we all want it, really. And nobody there is selfish. Nobody there is envious. Nobody there is egoistic. In fact, they just love each other, and the whole experience is fantastic. See, even in this world, as you go on the higher planets, so forget about spiritual world. Even in this world, when you go to the higher planets, the relationship, the mutual relationship which people have amongst each other keeps getting refined. For example, husband and wife. In this world, on this Earth planet, what is the nature of conjugal relationship? Is like that, they bring their bodies together and they try to rub against each other and get some enjoyment, which is actually a big illusion, because the girl is frustrated with her body and the boy is frustrated with his body, but the illusory understanding is that I'll get something fantastic from her body and I'll get something fantastic from his body. This is totally actually unacceptable and illogical. So there is just this one moment of some so-called satisfaction, and for that person struggles throughout life. Now, when you go to the higher and higher planetary systems in the Swarga Lokas of various levels, so Bhur, Bhuva, Suha, these are the 7 layers of the top higher planetary systems. And then there are 6 below us, so there's total of 14, Chauda Bhuvana. So some other time we will discuss about this. But the whole idea is that as you go higher, what happens is that the nature of activities and relationship between the couples, it becomes more and more refined. In the Gandharva Loka, they both are singing different suras, you know. Sare, 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 sa, sare, re, sare, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, sa, ni, dha, pa, ma, ga, re, sa, sare, sare, ga, re, ga, re, ga, ma, pa, ma, pa, dha, ni, sa, ni, dha, ni, dha, pa. Like this, there. So the different ragas they recite, and then the husband will recite, higher ragas, Sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa. And like this, the competition will just go on actually. Now we may actually there is a great there is a higher joy, there's a higher enjoyment, and when you go more subtler and subtler. Okay, then there is one planet where they do tapasya, where they do meditation, and that is a joy they have with each other, husband and wife. Great joy. Like this, when you reach spiritual world, the greatest joy is the pure and selfless, affectionate love and service attitude towards the Lord and towards each other. That is the entire society. And people have friends, people have relatives. There are trees. There are everything you see in this world is actually a reflection. So when you talk of a reflection, it is dark. It is in one dimensional lesser always. Like your hand is 3D, but the reflection of your hand, the shadow would be 2D, right? Now your hand will contain 5 fingers. The shadow may also contain 5 or 4 based on the orientation of the light in your hand. But it may look like it can carry out the same functions as your hand, but it cannot. The shadow of a mango in the water reservoir, like in the pond or something, it may look like the real mango, but it never is. It can never give you the taste, the nutrition, and all that experience of a real mango. Similarly, this world is a reflection. The image is real. When you have an image, you know that, remember, right? Optics, imaginary, no, sorry, real image and virtual image. कुछ दूसरा नाम है, I think. The real image तो आपको याद होगा. So actually, this world is real, but it is a reflection. It is not the original thing. So it exists, it is real, but the expectation which it promises to deliver, that is not real. So when you look at the mango's image in the pond, there's a mango on the tree near the bank of the pond, and the image of that mango is in the pond. Okay, so you think that the mango is there in the pond, so you dive into it, but then you don't get the mango. So again looking for it. Similarly, in this world, everybody is trying to enjoy and get some pleasure and satisfaction in this world, but then we don't get that fulfillment. We don't get that completion. We are like always in nervous 90s. We think, why I'm not getting through the century? It's like keep going round and round and round. Why it's not working out? Because actually that's not real. We're looking at the wrong place. We're looking for the right thing, but in the wrong place. And we do deserve it. We deserve to be happy and blissful throughout. So therefore we have to go to the spiritual world, and this is that spiritual world. So we will continue. Now it is 8 o'clock. So we have discussed the essence in one sense of this chapter. Tomorrow, as we begin the 9th chapter, we'll just see the remaining part of this 8th chapter also, and we shall complete it there. So there are 1 or 2 direct verses about the spiritual world, specifically 8.20, which we will see tomorrow. So I do not want to take any extra time. So thank you for everybody's attention and time, and for your enthusiasm as every day. in case anything was a little overboard for you to digest, it's fine. We can discuss tomorrow in case you have any questions like that. Okay. So we are slowly now entering into the core part of the Gita, where you actually begin to learn about the little bit about the personality of Krishna. So in the 9th and 10th chapter, 9th, 10th and 12th chapter, you'll actually get to see some glimpses of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is getting to know Krishna as a person. Okay, what are his feelings? How does he relate with his devotees? And you will become amazed actually. Even if Krishna is not God, even if Krishna doesn't hold the key for our spiritual success, to hell with it. I just love Krishna. You'll actually come to that point. It doesn't matter to me what are the rules and is he going to help me being saved from the sinful reactions, this, that. I don't care. But if this is his personality, I am over and over in love with him again and again. And that is what is spiritual. Husband and wife love each other. Children love their parents, but their foundational love is for the Supreme Lord. So that becomes a common center, binding everyone together. So, and so we'll see that time. Tomorrow we'll begin the 9th chapter, which is considered the core chapter of the Bhakti Yoga, and you will definitely love it. So tomorrow you'll get to see directly from the scriptures, from the Gita, that when you go to the temple and get some prasada, right, some rice or sabji or kheer or puris or whatever, what is the science behind that prasad? It is very amazing actually. First time when you get to hear the description, it's very scientific, and it's very practical and amazing. So that is one of the verses which will come in the 9th chapter. And also you'll see in the 9th chapter what is the meaning, what is that one shloka which defines the entire Gita. And also you'll see that what is that one thing which is answer to every question, like Gatir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi Nimasa Sharanam. Very beautiful chapter. So, and also you will see 9.2, that is the definition of Raja Yoga. Raja Yoga means the secret of all secrets. Okay. So thank you. Hare Krishna. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्री श्री राधा गोपाल की जय, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल।